The cool thing about hero equipment is that Supercell will continue putting out new pieces in the blacksmith to keep the game fresh and exciting, and of course, to keep the income flowing. It's been a genius move on their part, as players with money seem to be excited to spend on these new pieces, which is good because that means all of us who don't spend a ton of money on upgrading will continue to have fun, new things to look forward to. Which brings us to the question, if we are not blowing hundreds of dollars on maxing out every piece of new equipment that Supercell gives us, then how should we prioritize upgrading our equipment? The one thing that Supercell has done really well is to balance each piece of equipment. The Giant Gauntlet, for example, is great at tanking and splash damage, but is weak on power when compared to the Rage Vial and the Barbarian Puppet. It also has some healing, but the healing pales in comparison to the Vamp Stash. Now, to be clear, for smash attacks and hero dives, the Rage Vial and the Giant Gauntlet are the best choices for your king, but there may be situations where the Rage Vial and the Vamp Stash is a better choice for your king. I did go into detail with BD Legend on this exact topic, breaking down each piece of hero equipment on this podcast episode. So if you'd like to listen to more of that in detail, be sure that you do so. The link will be in the notes below. But the point being, no matter what piece of equipment you use, you should be able to 3-star if you're a decent attacker because of how well Supercell has balanced all of the equipment. Same with the Frozen Arrow. Yes, it has the most damage output, but it also comes with the downside of the least amount of HP boost. In fact, it's much easier for your queen to die if you have the Frozen Arrow on her versus any of the other pieces of equipment. My point is the same as with the Giant Gauntlet. This Frozen Arrow is a super solid piece of equipment and it will work very well. But if you are a skilled attacker and you know how to 3-star, you know the way to do strategies, then you're probably going to 3-star anyway, whether the Frozen Arrow or the Healer Puppet or the Archer Puppet is on your queen, because Supercell has done such an amazing job at balancing all of the pieces of equipment. Now, it's been rumored that the next piece of epic equipment will be for the Warden in the form of a fireball that does massive damage to its target. And the question remains, should we stop upgrading other pieces of hero equipment and focus solely on this one new piece of epic equipment once it arrives? Let's take the Frozen Arrow for example, since we received this new piece of equipment recently. At max, it adds 168 DPS and freezes the defense it's shooting at 75% for 3 seconds. The Archer Puppet, on the other hand, adds 144 DPS, but also grants a 440 HP recovery increase and 35 archers, as useless as they are. Now, let's say your Archer Puppet is at level 10. Even then, it has a 100 DPS increase, which is not equaled in the Frozen Arrow until the Frozen Arrow gets to level 13. Now, granted, the Archer Puppet doesn't grant the same freeze effect that the Frozen Arrow does, but the HP recovery is still 295 at level 10, which the Frozen Arrow does not have. Now, the Grand Warden is a bit more complicated in that its pieces are substantially different from each other, in that one heals, one rages, and the other grants additional life, not even counting the Eternal Tome, which in my opinion is the most powerful piece of equipment of all. But my recommendation is still the same, even with the Warden and the variety that it offers. Choose 2 pieces of equipment for each hero that works best for you, and then max those pieces out and move on to the next piece of equipment. It's not worth throwing everything out the window, all of the upgrading that you're doing, to focus on one brand new piece, unless it just happens to be completely broken and completely overpowered. But with the history that we've gotten with hero equipment thus far with Supercell, that's very likely not to be the case. On my main account, TipDog20 for example, I have decided to focus on the Rage Vial and the Giant Gauntlet for my king, but on my lower accounts, I'm actually focusing on the Rage Vial and the Vamp Stash because it works better with the types of attacks that I'm using at those levels. With the Queen, if you want the damage output and you've already upgraded your Archer Puppet to level 10 or higher, then I would say just keep focusing on that piece of equipment till it's maxed, and later pour your extra ore into the Frozen Arrow. Now, I'm making this recommendation only because Supercell has done such an amazing job at balancing all of the pieces of equipment. So if you want damage and you have the Archer Puppet, then go ahead and use it if you already have it upgraded to a specific level. I threw out level 10 as kind of a guide, but use that number that's best for you. The Frozen Arrow, technically for certain types of attacks, is a better piece of equipment, but it's not worth throwing everything out just to focus on the Frozen Arrow. Now, if you are bound and determined to upgrade the Frozen Arrow because you believe that it works absolutely the best for you and that's the one that you're going to upgrade, then 100% go for it and make that the piece of equipment that you will upgrade for your Queen, because confidence in your attacking ability is a huge part of being able to triple a base. Confidence is super important. But as for me, I'm going to be focusing on the pieces of equipment that I think are best, using the type of armies that I'm using to attack, what I am finding the most success with, and I'm going to slowly upgrade 2 pieces for each hero, and then later, once I have extra ore, once those pieces are maxed out, I will be going back and focusing on the Frozen Arrow, for example. If you have thoughts on what you think are the best pieces of equipment for each and every hero, be sure to let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Until the next video, we have some amazing thoughts that are coming, so make sure that you are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Also, smash that like button if you enjoyed this video and found it informative. But until the next video, I am TipDog20. I'll see you then.